So this is an area that Canada has been criticized for, Glenn. So what's Mark Carney promising?
He's promising to spend up to 5% of our gross domestic product. So that's 5%, the total size of our economy, on defense. And he's signing on with all the 31 other NATO member countries also pledging to make the same agreement. But you're right, this has been an area where Canada has been accused of being a laggard in the past because our defense spending as a proportion of our economy hasn't kept up with other countries, and it hasn't kept up with the 2% of GDP target that Stephen Harper, when he was Prime Minister, committed to us at the NATO table, along with all the other NATO countries. We have never achieved that 2% of GDP level before. We will do it, according to Mark Carney, by the end of this current fiscal year. That is, by the end of March. The original plan had been, under Justin Trudeau, had been get to that level through a large acquisitions of military equipment, the F-35 fighter jets, maybe new submarines, things like that, would bring us up to that level by 2032. But Carney had decided to accelerate it, get us to that 2%. But now we're facing this much larger target, much higher threshold. What does that look like to this as a size of Canada's total economy? Well, 5% of our GDP, that's going to work out to about 150 billion with a B dollars the federal government is going to have to spend on defense, compared to approximately 43 billion right now. Now, won't all this increased spending won't all go to new military equipment? About 3.5% of the 5% under this agreement that NATO leaders signed would go to things like ammunition, paying the troops, more weapon systems, fancy stuff like fighter jets, whereas there'll be another 1.5% will go to infrastructure to support them. That could be things like, even commercial ports, airports, those sorts of things. Carney says, though, that this could get us there, would actually stimulate Canada's economy. This is what he had to say today in Brussels.
If you all of a sudden start spending a lot more money in one area, you can end up spending a lot more money on rising prices and choke points. That's part of the reason why we're cooperating more closely with the Europeans. Part of the reason why, we continue cooperation with the U.S. in the right areas, but also part of the reason why this increase will happen at a measured pace, or we'll try to do it at a measured pace. Key point. The fact that we are doing this today, the fact that we're united, the fact that the United States is fully behind this, the fact that we're working together, is going to reduce the threat environment 10 years from now. Certainly, now, we'll never be able to precisely answer that, what it would have been versus what it is there, but the deterrence element of NATO has just gone up substantially, and it's crucial. And we would really feel it if we went in the other direction.
Now, I earlier said that Mark Carney was in Brussels. That's where he was yesterday, meeting with European leaders. Today, he's actually in Den Haag in the Netherlands. They're talking about how this is going to be a measured approach. This isn't going to happen overnight, and it's going to be phased in between now and the year 2035. And of course, Faiza, probably unlikely statistically that Mark Carney would still be Prime Minister by then, 10 full years from now, given the average lifetime of a typical Prime Minister doesn't anywhere close to that. So, and the same with the other NATO leaders, they will all likely have been moved on, won't be in the same jobs when they reach that point where they have to hit that target. But NATO is insisting that every member country show its work, show its progress towards that goal. We'll see how Mark Carney can try and sell this policy domestically to convince Canadians they should see such a huge percentage of our federal government's income going to defense spending.
It is a big commitment. All right, our Glenn McGregor in Ottawa, thanks so much.